Let's do it. And then I'm going to tweet. This is on YouTube and Twitch, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Okay, sweet
For
deal.
what it's worth. I'm going to move this tab. But yeah, anything. I've invested a lot of time in my streaming setup recently. But anything with getting guests on is so much easier in StreamYard.
Oh, yeah. That was like the simplest.
It was incredibly easy.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Cool. There we go.
Ooh.
And then let me just get.
See, what are we doing? Next.js, Resend, Tailwind.
JS. Oh, Zeta. Don't forget to tag your Zeta.
Yeah.
Sweet deal.
Right.
Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. And then I share with Present, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Our car, what's up?
Hey.
So here's one pet peeve I have, not with you all, with Twitter. When you go to tag someone, it has no intelligence to search people that you follow. So, like, I know it's I am Wix. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, for what? For Twitter?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I had that complaint. Actually, I think it was on Nate's stream, and we're talking about the same thing, how it's just miserable to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes no sense. Like, why would it not filter or search based on people you follow and interact with? Like, literally no sense. I feel like, is it Ryan Fur? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
By the way, our car, who's in the chat, giving him a couple shout outs so far, but it never gets old. He's in the Learn Build Teach Discord and just got his first developer job. He was going through interviews and stuff recently. Yeah. And his job is in New York City, Ryan.
Oh shit. Wow.
So he
help her with her out.
Yeah.
That's sick. Good for you.
Yeah, super exciting. He went into the city for interviews and we were talking about it some before and after. And then he got the offer.
That is doing amazing.
Start next week. Nice. That's exciting. Yeah. And he's doing some work on the learnbuildteach.com website now too.
Really?
Yeah. Super fun.
And hang out. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Let's go ahead and tweet everything out, right?
Yeah, I just tagged you both. We should have invited Becca for no reason.
You should still invite her just for the heck of it, dude. All right.
She'll probably jump in. She seems to just do anything, like whatever.
Is this
Let's
one?
see if she will.
Entire screen. All right, we'll do this one.
Yeah, this is the beautiful thing about StreamYard too, is I can just send out the link.
Dude,
and then
they just join.
Yeah.
Oh, that is pretty nifty.
You can see the screen there, James.
Yep, and I can bring it on.
This is
nice. Wow.
Okay. I'm sold on this.
Oh, so you really haven't seen StreamYard before?
No.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's go into projects. Deals for devs. By the way, have you ever heard of the Z? There's a whole video on this. So I implemented this new thing. All right. If I go down to I don't know if you can, but there's this, I forgot it's Z. Hold on. I'll tell you
you sent that YouTube video earlier and it's on my watch later.
What is it? Let me just pull up my ZHS file. It's called Zoxide. Have you heard of Zoxide, James?
No.
All right, check this out. So it's a replacement for CD, but a smart replacement for CD. So once you browse with it, check this out. I can go.
Oh, it like learns where you go.
I can go Z developer, and then I can go deals for what is it? Deals for devs. Oh, boo!
Don't you love when you go to brag about something it doesn't work?
Always, yeah.
Z projects deals for devs. Oh, come on. Whatever. Okay.
My brother said he just saw.
That's
a thing of this
why.
too.
That's why. Okay.
What, Ryan, your brother said what?
My brother
Deals.
just saw this video as well. It's going around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Here it is. Okay, so I do CD projects deals for devs.
Nope.
C projects deals for. I'm still learning it. Whatever. Okay, we're done. We're done. This is dumb.
So Wes Boss, I'm pretty sure, has used something like that before because he had a Z command, and it would have like intelligent CD. So like it should have intelligence based on things that you visited most frequently or whatever.
Yeah, I think I haven't used it enough to build that up. I just installed it late last night. So, all right, deals for devs. I have the environment variables up. Sorry.
She laughed.
All right, so I think, James, do you want to start through from the subscription portion and then just from like the beginning walk through it? Because I know we did a walkthrough on my stream a little while back. How do you want to go about it?
Yeah, but there'll probably be some overlap there. Run it and let's actually show it in action first, so everyone can see it, including Ryan. Because Ryan, you still haven't had like a. Do you know what we're building? Like, have you guys talked about it enough? Okay.
Well, I also checked it out when you first built it, like near Black Friday. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very cool.
So we got
deals. I was so shocked that like actually got the traction that it did, that I'm like really optimistic if we spend some time making something much, much nicer, which this will be.
Oh yeah.
That it's gonna have some success.
Yeah, I think so.
By the way, James, I did go in and run the build and cleared out a lot of TypeScript issues.
Okay, sweet.
That was okay. So this is the Deals for Devs site, kind of a little bit of a sneak peek that I've been working on for James. Obviously, we're missing deals right here, so we need deals. So if you know of a deal, let us know. But this is a little sneak peek at what we've been building, what I've been building out, built with Next.js, Zeta, Sentry, and Clerk using design. So here's the biggest thing for James, what he wanted in. James wanted to add in subscriptions so that people could subscribe to deals, right? And not just subscribe to deals, choose what kind of deals they get on a monthly basis. And so we're going to be using, we're going to host Umbrasell. We're going to be using cron jobs to be able to generate that automatically. The idea is hands off, right? We can kind of automate it to run everything for us, and we kind of do a little bit of management on the back end. So the first challenge we tried to figure out was, how do we do subscriptions in this model without using something like MailChimp or any of the other ones? So here's how it works. I'm going to put in my, let me just make sure I'm actually not registered in here right now. None.
You can show off your fancy admin dashboard.
Ooh, wait, no.
Or not.
Dashboard. I moved it to dashboard. That's why. All right, so I am in here, and look, you are.
Oh, I like that. Okay. Are you using nested layouts?
No. I'm not using a nested. Well, yes, I am using.
I was gonna say, because the admin dashboard, like that piece didn't update as you change pages.
Correct. So all I'm using is state for this. Basically, what state, based on what state is what, it'll show what on this side of the screen. We're only going to be doing two major things. I actually want to turn these into tables. That way it's a little bit easier, because we don't need all this. We can get a table with all the information and choose what we want to do to it. Same thing with subscribers. So I'm going to remove, this is a little something I put in for myself, just to be able to remove myself from the actual.
There's, I'm curious to look at the potential for that. The admin dashboard is not important, although it could be a fun talking point for stuff like this.
Yeah.
Will you stop choking on stuff?
All right. So back over here, I'm just going to put in my email address, chris@chrisnowicki.io. As soon as I hit this, it's going to bring me to, hey, please verify your email. We've sent, and I have a border issue down here at the bottom, but that's okay. It says, hey, you're unverified. Please verify your email. So let's pull up my email. And sorry for the flashbang, y'all. But this is the email address that came through from Resend. So what we did is I have a customized token. Of course, my account will not be the same thing later, but this is my customized token attached to my name. We are still looking for some graphics here at the top. But yeah, so you subscribe and it tells you to right here, hey, please verify your email. We sent an email to Chris at chrisnokia.io. So I went and checked it. We're here. And if I click on this token, it'll bring me to.
Are you using Arc, by the way, browser?
I am.
Nice.
I love Arc.
Same here. Yep.
I love it. So James, this is the if I go to window, I just want to make sure my zoom. Okay, so we're good. So now it says, hey, my account is verified. I clicked on the account, and then we can go down here to our little section. This needs to be styled, but this is kind of disabled right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because really nothing's changed. There's no need to click update preferences because we haven't really done anything yet. So if I click right over here, this becomes active. I click on this, we get a little toast at the top, and we're using React Toast for this. But yeah, preferences updated. Okay, then this goes back to, default here. I can unsubscribe from all, and it's going to set me in the system as unsubscribe. So it's a one-click unsubscribe, so you will no longer receive monthly emails. You can go back in here and just choose one again, like, oh, you know what? I missed those ebooks, or hey, I want to get the latest course from James. Update preferences if that comes through. And then now it does a check in the code that says, hey, if you're subscribed to any one of these, chances are make sure they are subscribed in the database. And then, of course, you could do subscribe to all, and then you have been subscribed to all. So that is kind of the basics of what we did for the subscription preferences. The substripper.
That's a different stream. By the way, Michael, you too. What's up? Welcome.
Hey, Michael. That's kind of cool that you can see in the chat where it's coming from. Is it coming from Twitch, or is it coming from?
And you can respond individually in here too.
Oh, that's cool.
I can. You can't because you're not like logged in StreamYard. Cool. But yeah.
Got it. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that is kind of the deal, James. We can kind of walk through the code, but the idea here, this is what we've been building out for the past 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was getting all of this in. It was getting this right here at the top, this unique code, how to bring that in. We're using a couple methods. We're using search params. We're passing through parameters using Next.js dynamic routing, which we still have yet to figure out, right? We have yet to figure out how to do search params in a server component.
Yeah, which I saw a video someone posted today actually about that I meant to actually watch and I haven't. And it's got to be a very standard thing, and I just haven't actually sat down and looked for it yet.
It's got to be, and if anything, we can always tweet out to Lee Rob and see if they respond.
Yeah.
Usually he'll respond. So, and then of course you can go back here to the beginning, and here's where we're at, and we'll be able to view deals. This is a reusable component, so this is the same form done here. So kind of use that style of only create it once, right? So you could do the same thing if you scroll down and you want to subscribe. So, it will do my personal email. And then it does the same thing. It brings you over to here. And then, of course, this is what it looks like if I were to sign out, right? So without the bar at the top, that's kind of what we got.
I feel like she's choking with everything she bites.
Oh, that's what all kids do, right?
I know.
Is that what kids do? I don't know.
Yeah. Good thing is these are like dissolvable treats. So even if she has trouble, it can't last for like more than a second.
So that is the you can kind of start. We can kind of go through the code a little bit if you want to.
Michael asked what we're using to stream. This is StreamYard, which I've actually just moved away from StreamYard for all of my individual like solo streams. But for anything with guests, it's like infinitely easier to bring people on. I just send them a link and they can turn on their video and audio and share their screen and whatever they want.
It was incredibly easy.
Wow.
Yep.
And it's relatively, I'm just looking at the pricing of it now. That's not bad.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few different products like in a similar price range.
Oh.
Parker said, "Why not Ping?" I haven't
Oh.
used Ping. Maybe that's a missed opportunity. I don't know. Chris, have you tried it?
I've not tried it. I've been wanting to just because it's Theo's company.
Yeah.
But I've heard great things about it. I heard it's pretty stable. I heard though that it only streams at 720p.
Oh, in 2024.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ping also maybe isn't a great name for something internet based. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or is it the perfect name? I don't know. Like,
Oh, maybe that's a selling feature. I don't know.
yeah.
So for $24 a month, you can stream with 2 people, up to 720p resolution. Plays nice with OBS. You get 2 participants and 1 embeds, and then you have to pay $12 extra a month for 60 FPS. So I assume that's only streaming at 30 FPS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just for 2. If you want to do 4 participants, 2 is 24, 3 is 32. So it's basically $8
A person after that.
after the initial 2, and then if you want to embed, it's $5 per embed.
I think what we have is like up to 10 people.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So it's great for what it is. It's funny, Parker said I haven't tried any of them. I was just curious because Theo, obviously. Fair. So Chris, why don't we walk through like what you just did visually?
Let's
Why don't
walk
we
through the
walk through
code.
that in code? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can start on like the homepage with the form.
Yep.
And you're using Next.js server actions. And Ryan, I
Yeah.
am less familiar with like your knowledge of specific things in Next.js. So make sure you stop and ask questions if we mention like
I gotta
anything that
stop
you
going
don't
to that.
immediately know.
Yeah, you got it.
All right,
I'll just
so
bother Chris at 3 a.m. It's fine.
I won't be answering you at 3 a.m., man. Everything's muted by then.
That's for sure.
All right, so let's go back to the beginning here from this standpoint. All right, so the way we're using the app router for all of this. James, one thing I was going to ask you is, do you have a particular love for holding it in a source directory?
As opposed to just root. I don't care that much, although it's a little cleaner to have that separated from like
I've been
config
actually
files.
liking it separate. So
Yeah.
I was just going to say we'll keep it here. But the way that I have the project structured is for server actions, just a good practice to keep a folder called actions. The app, this is where all of the routes are and a lot of the default layouts are for the application. I did bring a little bit of organization into some of the components, James, so that they're
Which
easier.
it was not organized at all. It was just
No.
me putting shit together at times.
Which is fine, but I just started kind of organizing emails for any type of email template that we're going to be using React email for. One
thing that's cool, by the way,
Mhm.
that we can do is create another template for like a brand new item that we could send people.
Yep.
And we could have in the admin dashboard like a button that says like send email with this record or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we can create multiple types of emails. One thing that we are going to have to do if we want to use the build the email like live, React email will start up a server on port 3001. And you can actually build out the email in the code and watch it build out in front of you real time. So rather than having to send emails, but you have to move the email folder into the source directory for React email to recognize it, that it's an actual email that exists. So something to think through later on. We have a lib folder, just running some basic utils right now. We got the TW merge function, which is my new favorite default function to include in all of my apps. I just think this is just phenomenal and great.
So
what does that do?
Yeah, what does that? I think I know what it is, but I haven't used it.
Yeah, so what this does is it takes basically if you what's the not the Tailwind merge, but it was one where you could take out your template literals out of the You can just use straight up variables inside of your components. And what this does is it basically takes CLSX. It's right there in front of me.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's basically CLSX. But what happens is with TW merge, you can then override. So if you have a basic standard component, and I have this in here somewhere, but if you have a basic standard component, you can, after everything, do a comma, class name at the end, and then you can pass in classes. And so let's say you had a padding by default of 2, and then you use this in a spot where you want the padding to be 4. You could put padding 4 and it overwrites what is in there originally. So that is the benefit of TW merge.
And there's some weird things with Tailwind where if you do like P1 and then P2 after, they don't prioritize them based on the order they're in and like in the string.
Correct.
They prioritize them based on how they are, like by CSS rules, how they're defined in the styles that you don't actually see. Right. So there's some ambiguity of which one takes place.
Yeah. Are you using the Tailwind prettier extension?
I am using the prettier extension for Tailwind because it organizes them in a really nice way to help find them. What's going on, Matthias? Michael Moore says he's used this before. It helps a lot. It really does. And it's really nice too. So if you have one specific button that you like, but it may need to be, changed a little bit throughout, you don't have to make a couple buttons or kind of get around that. So anyway, really cool. And then I kind of just added this in the other day, James, just for base URL for right now. Like if our environment is development based on our Vercel ENV that we're going to use, we kind of get so that way we can kind of figure it out.
Yeah. So there's something we should do there. Also, Matthias, let's go to market the heck out of this PR. I love it. And the trainee did not like that comment. Yeah, she's in an interesting mood. So I didn't catch this earlier, but when I mentioned use an environment variable there, let's just have an environment variable for the URL. So you don't have to do any checks for what the base URL is, and you don't have to do any calculation. Just have an env variable for environment URL or whatever you want to call it, and then just reference that thing directly. And we can do a default of localhost 3000 if it's not defined.
Sure, that makes sense.
Or we can just do it explicitly.
Yeah, I like that.
One thing I still haven't found the developer. I haven't found a great solution to. There's a few different ways to do it. Is to get TypeScript typings around your environment variables as well as defaults.
I know how to do that.
What have you seen?
I actually did it in one of my apps before. I need to go and pull it, but you can use Zod for your env variables.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah,
it's great.
So you end up having to write like a config file that parses .env with Zod based on a schema, and then something. Yeah.
Actually, you don't even have to create a config file. You could. What I did is I just created in the types folder, I created env Zod, and that's where I put my template for the Zod. It's not called template, but you know what I'm talking about.
The definition for that type or whatever.
Yeah, the definition for the type. And then what you do is you export that. When you export that, you reference that as the env rather than the base env. So it's pulling it out.
So how does it get the stuff from .env?
Inside of that, inside of this type.ts file. So you actually, not this one, but if I were to create a new file called env.zod.ts, you would do, when you do your schema, I could do the schema with something equals process.env. I'll have to pull it up. I'll show you. But
I think that'd be a good thing to add. Stoney on YouTube. Stoney's watching on YouTube, not on Twitch. It's weird. It feels out of place. What's that? Murdoch, based on AI with the Air Canada thing floating around. My curiosity is peak. Also, baby's first team programming. That's right. She's learning.
Mine too.
All right.
So Chris, you've got a to-do for just adding. And let's do what we should do. And I actually won't do it myself because I don't have hands now. what we should do is let's do any code changes for your PR just to fix stuff that we think we should. Any additional features like the NVZod, let's
We'll
add
do
that
later.
as an issue.
Yeah.
And we'll give, that way we can get more people involved too. Because between you, Ryan, and potentially Ellie and anyone else that's interested.
And it is Ellie. She has confirmed.
Yep.
She wants to join in. So
Sweet deal.
I agree. I think, you know, for us, the goal is, and we'll still continue to walk through this, but if I go here in Arc, we're going to be releasing, Ryan, this top section without I think we can release it without that underline bar for now.
And the no button and just only have that top part. And we wouldn't even have a nav bar too.
Nope.
So it'll just be like that part centered. Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll just do a center based on screen for that. That way it could be, we could say coming soon or site updating. I'll put some flair on it. And then we'll go from there. Okay. So really good stuff here. Let me go back over to here. All right, let's just dive right into the code. So we're going to go into the app, the initial app folder. We're going to go into the page. All right. So we have a few sections here. We have our hero and our separator. So that's our hero and our separator. I created one component for the separator because it shows up in multiple places. And then, in fact, did I put that in the, I'll look later. Okay. And then we have a section for the deals. So this is where all the deals are going to come in, and we'll build this out as its own separate component. Actually, this entire section right here is the deals. And then we have the never miss a deal section right here. So this never miss a deal section, this is where we're at down here in this fun part.
One thing we need to do on that, by the way, is remove those logos. They look great until we've actually like used their deals, because I haven't done anything with them. So that was get off of that. The designer came up with that, which looks beautiful, but we need to make sure not to like reference something we haven't actually worked with yet.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and just move that now, just so that we. All right.
I'm going to let her run around on the floor, so you may see me like go back and forth between.
You're fine, dude.
Her from
Cool. Sounds good.
Yep. All right. So this is the main page that everyone lands on for the deal site, and really what we want to focus on is this hero section, which has the form. So let's go ahead and pull up the hero from our components. All right, so this is this main section right up here, the best deals and giveaways for developers and this is the forum right down here. So I created its own component because it's reusable across the site, and that's the goal, is we want to be able to reuse it wherever possible. So let's go ahead and open up the subscriber. That's actually a form. Cancel.
Did looking at, so you get a lot of the what is it called? In brackets in Tailwind, where you define your like custom numbers. Thank you. Did you try like some of the template ones or like the existing ones? They just didn't quite work, or what was the choice for specific
it was
ones?
just, I'm going to be going through and fix that. It was just more of trying to see how close they were. So when I started off, James, I used the actual ones from Figma file because I just wanted it to look as close as possible.
Yeah,
and then I realized this is getting insane. And the ones, honestly, the ones that are close enough are close enough. You know, I would think so. Yeah. So I have that in my just to go through and clean that up. I got a little carried away, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think it'll be more take advantage of the tools we're using and just consistent to use their classes.
And if need be, I could always extend it and throw it into our custom setup, so that way if we're reusing those classes, like I did that with their text classes, right?
I know. Look, I'm already getting it in the chat. 44.36. Listen, I am accurate. Okay. Figma says 30. I know. Listen, I'm still a newbie here. I'm so used to the front end mentor challenges where they actually judge you based on how exact.
Pixel, yeah.
So, all right. So here's what we got going on here. We have a form, and you'll notice right here in the form we have an action. This is a server action. So we're using the server to process the subscriptions and also send the emails. All right, so this is the part I want everyone to kind of focus on. This is the input right here. Great. This is our submit button. Wonderful. So here's what happens. All right, we go over here and I hit Chris. I type this in. Before I hit enter, all right, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to submit this form data over to a function called subscribe. This is going to be a server action, which is cool because if you look at the top here, we're in a client component. And that's the great thing about Next.js. That's a great thing about React server components. That's the great thing just about some of these actions that are coming in now is that you could be on a client component and still make use of the server to be able to run some processes for you. So as soon as we hit enter, it's going to pull up and pass the form data to the subscribe function, which is coming from in the actions folder. And this is called subscriber subscribe. Okay. So when we get up here at the top of the subscribe function, we have our schema, which is just checking to make sure everything coming in. We're using Zod to make sure it's an email. We're checking to make sure the token is a string itself. We're creating a unique token, UUID v4. And James and I went back and forth a lot on this. We posted on Twitter. I think even Luna said why you should not use UUID for your main your main component. But look, we wanted something that would be unique for each user, a simple token. We didn't want to bring in Clark Dev to authenticate the user just to update email. I know sometimes I get emails and it says you have to log in to update it, and that's a pain in the butt, right?
It's a hassle, yeah.
Yeah,
It's such a hassle. So we generate a unique token for that user. All right. So then we have all that set up. So the form data is passed into the subscribe function. All right. And then we're going to parse through the schema that we set. So this is just this schema is just a validation schema. We're just making sure everything's type safe the way that we intended it to be. We're passing in the email. We're getting that right from the form data that was passed from the client component. And the controversy from the last screen, the last stream just wanted me to keep this in as token. We can change it to token, James. I don't care either way. Whatever you want.
Yeah, I think the shorthand is good.
All right, we'll just get rid of this. Okay, so we have the token in here. That makes sure it's good. And then I create all the data that's going to go to the Zeta database. So I create a new subscriber, pass in the parsed email and token because I know that this is going to be type safe now. And by default, all categories we're going to subscribe the user to. They can go in and change it later, but by default, the subscriber is going to get subscribed to all. And by default, the user their email is not verified and they are not subscribed. All right. So verified is false and status equals unsubscribed. So that means they're going to have to still verify their email for those two things to change. All right.
Can you scroll up a couple of lines? Okay. For some, the parse line was hidden for a second. Two things. One that I'm surprised it works is having, and I think we should move it anyway, even if it does work for
You're going to say this, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of interesting, huh? I read a thing. I've been doing this for a lot of my database calls because every time this runs, it re-goes out and mounts that. Whereas this just gets it going once and it saves memory. So I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, but it's something I was playing with and I think I try it every now and then, but you're right. This is totally fine to bring in. We can just bring it in here.
Yeah. And I don't even know how, have you tested that with doing, because I would think what happens is as you get an import from that file, it runs that token once, which means that token only just gets generated once. And if you had multiple subscribes in a row, they would all have the same token.
Which you would think so. But
Right.
what's interesting, and I wish I could explain why, and this is something I should just dive into to learn a little bit more of. All of the tokens have been unique.
Yeah.
Every
that is
time I
interesting.
console log the server, but
Mm.
I think to be safe, just keeping it here, that I'm totally fine with that. That's
Yeah.
Protect yourself against something that may happen, right?
you never know. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could also from there, instead of creating a variable for that,
Mhm.
just put that directly in the new
Oh.
subscriber.
You could, huh? Because then that's going to be an actual valid
Yeah.
thing, right?
Mm.
So then we could say that really we
Oh,
just
but I
want
don't know. Oh, if you remove it from the subscribe schema. Yeah.
yeah. So if I just remove this from the subscribe schema, I'm going to get this down here, and this, we don't even need that anymore.
Mhm.
And then this is going to be UIDV4.
Yep.
Boom.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That makes it so. I love code reviews. I don't know. Everyone says they hate them. I pick up, not learn, but like every time you go through these, you kind of figure out how you can make it better and more clean,
Mhm.
I think it depends on how it's done and who's doing it is a big part of it.
True.
So if you're enjoying it, that seems like a good situation.
I guess so, right?
Now let me ask you another question.
Mhm.
What happens if your subscribe schema parse fails?
We need an error. We need to add in a return error here. If there is,
Do you know how what Zod will do if it doesn't?
I know Zod kicks an error. I've seen it kick an error
Yep.
before, but I don't know exactly how to tap into that error.
Yeah. I have to double check this. It throws an error, so you need to use a try catch. And then in the catch, you get access to the error. And then what we'll need to do is dive into I don't know if we want to do this right now or not. Because one of the issues we're gonna have, and I don't know if you've done this before, I haven't with server actions, is being able to respond back with a validation message.
Yeah.
That shows what happened. But this is also unnecessary, assuming that the form has required attached to the input. Although if someone really wanted to hack it, they could like edit the HTML to remove required and then do it. But most likely it's fine. What we should probably do is just add a PR separately for error handling for these things.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one thing that I did not. I think when I was getting our initial stuff set up, I just wanted to make sure we could get the process working.
Yep.
When I built this up, so I had it in mind, but I built quickly.
Yep.
Add PR. We're gonna
So Stoney said use math.random for the UID.
oh no.
Also someone said use safe parse.
Someone just said that in my
linear.
stream too. Yeah.
I don't know. So what is? I don't know the
Looking it up.
difference. I'll have to look
They
that
said
up.
you get the error as a value. I'm not sure how that.
That makes
differs,
sense. Where it just
yeah.
like returns probably two things in its return object. Let's see. Someone also asked if we were going to use a logger. We actually have, so Sentry, we're not doing anything with it now. Sentry is also the other partner. So
Yep.
Zeta and Sentry are both partners. And so we have
Parse.random.
I think Sentry's already set up. Yeah, Sentry's already set up in there. But we don't have a logger as in anything more than just checking the built-in logs that come from Vercel in addition to Sentry, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. And the cool thing here is we can customize what we return and then check that. I do that for especially when we run cron jobs, James. We can add custom error numbers so that when we're looking at the logs in Vercel, we can actually see if they're running correctly or not. So there's a couple things we can do there. I like
for reference, like when you get into enterprise software, like this has gotten better with tools. Logging is a huge thing, and being able to search through logs is a huge thing. And we spent a ton of time at FedEx. I mean, we would just watch log streams and then open log files on a server in VI to like query for error messages and go back through that way, which is
Yeah.
got a lot better since then. But logging when you have like actual legitimate business stuff running is super important.
Oh yeah. That's something I would love to learn more of too, because I have not gotten
Yeah.
that deep into this part yet.
Especially because
This
we
part's
depend
more
on them
fun.
so much, right?
Yeah.
What'd you
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
Ryan?
We depend on logs so much for when
Yeah.
we're looking for errors, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's definitely another thing to add.
By the way, for safe parse, so safe parse returns a result, and that result object has a success boolean. So it's
Oh.
either then you can check if result.success, else blah blah blah.
Okay, I'm gonna just add into here. Look into safe.
What are you using for notifications? By notifications, do you mean notifications to the user or notifications to ourselves if something goes wrong? But for user notifications, Chris, we're using
React Toast for like when they update their preferences and stuff like that. I think that's the question, right?
Yep.
Oh,
To
to the
user,
user?
Yep.
Yeah. So any notifications based on their preference updates, because the initial subscribe, which you'll see here, it forwards them to a page that tells them, hey, you've subscribed, go and check your email and click on that verification link. Click on the verification link and it takes you directly to your profile. Like a reminder. Are you talking about, like, Michael, the emails that are going to go for notifying the user that there's a new deal to check out?
Yeah, if that's the case, that's sending transactional email with resend.
Yeah. Resend and React email.
Yeah.
And then cron jobs to process them.
Yep.
All right. So I just made a note here so that we can just kind of track it. And then I'll go through these, James, and I'll add these as issues.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
awesome if you don't mind.
All right. So we create the new subscriber, and then we get our Zeta client, and then from Zeta we create the new subscriber. And this is where, again, I need to add error checking there if there's any issues, right? It kind of kicks it around. We find a way to notify them in some way, shape, or form. Then what I do is I create the link. So this is the link that we saw earlier, right?
And we now have an issue based on something we changed, I believe.
You think so?
Yep. If you look back at that line 39,
Yeah.
we didn't assign
yeah.
token to a variable anymore. So we actually need to break that back out to its own variable.
That is right. I was smart in doing something.
Yeah.
All right, let's just go const token equals UUID 4, and then we already know that's going to be valid. We don't need to type safe that, so we're just going to add the token down here. All right, so now we're good down here. So we got our base URL, which we are going to change, of course, out of this to what we're going to do, add to the env. Yeah, so basically after the subscriber thing happens, then it sends a validation email token, and then it sends them their confirmation email, revalidates the admin path if the admin is logged in, and they can actually check that without the page refreshing, and then it redirects to the confirm token page, which we'll see. So
and that the revalidate path on admin is only beneficial for the actual admin dashboard, right?
That's only for the admin dashboard. You're not going to see that anywhere else. So, for example, James, if for whatever reason you're logged in, you're on the admin dashboard, and someone goes through this process, it'll pop right up without the page refreshing. It'll just pop right in there. It's almost like streaming in a change, which is pretty cool.
Whoa, wait, does that work on other people's machines too? Like it doesn't just refresh the page, the window that user's in?
I believe so. I need to test it though. So
we need
to test that.
Yeah.
Because in the past, I know I've used Supabase, and in Supabase, I had to actually go in and subscribe to that table changing, whether it's an add, delete, or modify, and then it broadcasts that out through webhook.
Yeah,
I'd be
I'd be
curious to
impressed
see if that works.
if that actually does it. Yeah.
I doubt. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so let's kind of see this work here. What we just talked about. So I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to run through that process. It's going to generate a UUID. It's going to send me an email via resend, and then we'll go into that. So here we go. And what it just did here is it went through, it grabbed all of my information, it created myself in the database, and then it created my special link with the token. And we'll go and check this out next. So we'll check out the validate link. We're going to check out the send confirmation email portion and go from there. So let's check out what happens at the send confirmation email. Okay. So this is another server action that we're calling in to run on the server. And what we do here, we don't need that anymore.
By the way, while you're here, is there a reason that this is a server action specifically instead of, because I think of server actions as being something, and I don't know if it matters either way, specifically triggered by a form. But in this case, this is just like
it's just a server
helper function.
This is, I mean, and basically, I guess we could even put this somewhere else. It's not technically a server action because you're correct. Server actions are run, are form triggered from a form. But it is a server component up at top. So it is going to be run on the server, which is great. So we can move it out of the actions. I just thought keeping everything in one spot was kind of clean. So that's why I did that, you know? All right.
Yep. One thing we can do when we get Zod for the process.env is you don't have to do defaults there for the from email. So we can factor that into
oh, that's great.
To Zod.
Yep. I think it's going to be perfect. So when we get in here to the send confirmation email, it takes in two parameters. It takes in the email and the link. So this is the parsed email that came in from the form, and then the link, which is this validation link that we created right here. So it takes those two items in. We're setting our from email to be this, which we can change that in the EMV as well. One thing we do have to think about, James, is if we have, I think only a few of us should be working on the resend stuff, because getting everyone on a resend API and custom emails for their specific API to get that work might be challenging.
Yeah, that's fair.
Multiple devs. So just something to think about. Then we get into, so this is all using resend. So the way that it works is we, and again, we can just move this out here just to be safe like before.
By the way, your average gamers never heard of Zeta. Shout out to Zeta. It's awesome. It's Postgres. It's a database built on top of Postgres with a UI, has TypeScript, types, SDK, which is really cool. So that's what we're using as a database. Wow, there's so many tools. Yeah, that's unfortunately the overwhelming world that we live in. There's so many tools to work with. There's
so many tools in here. We have resend, and then I haven't even gotten to React email yet, which formats the email that we send out. So we get in here. We're just setting a variable for data for later on. That's going to return the component that we're trying to get, the return information from the email. We're creating a new instance of resend, and then this is the email. So the format's pretty simple. Await resend emails.send, and then we're saying from email to email, where we want to reply to, the subject. So this is at the top part is, just confirm your email. This React part right here, this is using we're creating a React element. So we're kind of tapping into this old school kind of React class components that used to be used in the, before we got a lot into the hooks. But right here, we're creating an instance. We're tapping into the React email template. That's what we're trying to say. So we're using this email, confirm email, and we're passing in these props. We're passing in the email and the link. Okay.
Cool.
And this headers portion right here, this is what we are going to add in. Still trying to see how we get this to work. I haven't seen it in my emails yet, James, but I put it in here. I'm reading their docs, but this is where if you open your email and you get that unsubscribe button right there without having to read through the email, that adds it in.
Oh,
Yep.
what? That's I wondered how people did that.
Yeah. So
Um,
apparently, like if an email's coming from MailChimp or if an email's coming from
they just have it.
that is in their headers automatically.
Okay,
In this
interesting.
instance, we are not a bulk list, mail list
Not yet.
subscribers. So this not yet.
Yes.
But that's what we're saying here. By adding this in here, we're saying, hey, this is coming from a mail list. And so it
Yeah.
allows them to just one
Yeah.
click unsubscribe, and we have to build out that function, which I have not
Yeah.
built out
That's
yet.
nifty.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Couple comments. David says Ryan has no audio. Ryan's going on and off of mute. I think he's also doing. He's also streaming to his channel. Yeah, so I think he's muting us when he's talking to his stream.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
and going
over
back and
y'all.
forth.
People
So
are
I think
asking
we're
some more
good.
details. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, though.
James, Zeta looks like everything I've been looking for in my project. That's awesome. Let us know if you or let me know. I don't know if y'all want to volunteer, but if you have any questions or anything, Zeta's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And Kuv on Twitch says, do we love Resend over SendGrid? And SendGrid is not its own like email provider. It's just like an SMTP client. Is that right?
Yep.
And then Resend actually also does email. Does that explain? Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I've never used SendGrid before, but I think SendGrid, from what I've read, like you said, it's SMTP only. Whereas with Resend, you can choose to do SMTP and you still do the same rate limits, or you can attach it to your domain, put in an MX record to be able to send emails from your domain name. And then it does it that way via MX records rather than using SMTP.
Yeah. Kuv, highly recommend. I mostly know it through watching Chris do stuff, which has been amazing. And I knew of it regardless. And then the founder is Zeno is really amazing. And just the product, he's just freaking crushing it. So it is a product that I would highly recommend checking out.
Side note, James, I saw a post on their blog or him do a post recently where they are going to be opening it up soon to where you can have a mail list and send one email out and it does it out to everyone, which is cool. But I don't know how we get all the data in for each user if all it's storing is emails. But the good thing about that is if you want to do generic emails, like a general email out to everyone, and you could do it from in there. So, or we can, it's just not a part of the API yet. So,
cool.
But yeah, I did a try catch here. So, we can return the error. And then I haven't tapped into this yet, but basically what's going to happen is as this is going, you're going to have a little, send feature coming back to that button. Then once that's done, it'll forward you to everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you can tap into everything that's being returned. Okay. And then
let's stay there for a second.
Yep.
So a couple of things I would do that we've already talked about is get more into the shorthand. It's really just a preference, but also saves you a little bit of code. So for example, the parameter email, you can just name that as 2. So in the function definition on line 7.
Yep. Oh, on line 7. Oh, right here. Just name this as 2, you mean?
You can. And I'm like questioning a little bit of like, is that specific enough? But I think it still is. And then if you just remove in line 20 the reference to email. And then
Oh, well,
and then same.
Interesting.
Oh, I guess you have.
No, I think this would work, right?
Link would work, yeah, but then you reference the email on 24 as well.
Just change that to 2 now, right?
So I guess you could do a shorthand one way or another. So why don't we do this? Why don't we go back to what it was with email, and then
we just
do the shorthand on line 24 and 25.
Yeah, so this can be email. It could be link. Cool.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that's good.
And from as well. So instead of like from email is descriptive, but we also know like what context we're in.
Yep.
And then since we're gonna label it with something else in a second, we could just shorthand that to from. Yeah.
There we go. Dude, this is so much cleaner. Wow.
And then eventually we'll have Zod and defaults for environment variables, so you won't see those
Yep.
in
You
other
won't.
places.
Correct.
Cool. Yeah, I think that looks good.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right,
Cool. Adding Resend to the list. Do it.
do it.
I like it.
All right, let's take a look at this confirm email code, which is more of just a bunch of components. All right, so this is what React email looks like. They have their own set of components that you can use. Notice right here, I am bringing in Tailwind so that you can actually use Tailwind utility classes in here, which makes it so much easier. And just as a side note, I'm going to bring it up here. Let's go to Resend or React email samples. Docs. Here we go. Examples. There we go. I'm going to kind of bring this up a little bit, but you can, if you go to develop emails, you can go look at a list of templates that they have.
That's cool.
So you can go, you can go down here and be like, hey, Notion magic links that we get. Here's what that looks like. But hey,
oh, is that where you started?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's right. So I just wanted something simple, right? But then you can over here look, what does it look like on the phone? Wow. And then here's all of the code to make that work. Now they don't use Tailwind. They use vanilla CSS down here for the different areas, but and they tap into those you know, like style, and then they tap into that object right down here. So but this is what I started with to be able to figure out, okay, how do we get this to work? And then you just play around with it. The docs are actually pretty cool. You can see all the components, how to make them work. If you want to, you know, add a button, what does the container do?
And React email is by the Resend team also?
It is by the Resend team. And also by the Resend team and the React team is the Dracula theme.
Yeah,
they're all the same.
All the same guy.
Yeah, Zeno was on our stream and he said that, and I was like, "What?"
I had no idea.
Yeah, one of the best themes of all time.
It's my favorite theme. I just got their keycaps. Yeah. Shout out to Zeno if you're watching.
Oh, I did see you got that. That's really cool.
Yeah. But here's what I'm bummed out about though on those. They're great, but I have a specific keyboard layout with Keychron. And so now I need the Mac add-on for that theme. So I got to buy the Mac caps, which are sold out, and the Minify caps for a couple of them, which they're sold out of. So
Kuv said he uses the Dracula theme too. He feels like a real developer.
Yeah, but Kuv, are you a pro user? My icons, if you look at my how do I move this around? Okay, look at that. I have like my Visual Studio Code icon is purple. My Slack icon is purple.
Nice.
My iTerm, that is the official Dracula.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
icon theme.
Cool.
So you can't do it for everything, but you can do it for some things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, James asked, jumping into stand up. I'm wondering where are you based? If you're in stand up, because Europe is like middle of the night now. India maybe during the day, but anyway. Will it be available to watch later? Yes, you can watch on Twitch or YouTube later. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you
glad
have any
learning,
questions,
James.
Let us know. Huh?
Yeah. I just want to say, James, glad you're learning because it's fun talking about all this. And
Sydney. Okay, yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Enjoy your day.
Enjoy your day. Are you going to go see Taylor Swift?
Is she over there?
Sydney?
She's in Sydney. Yeah, apparently. Don't ask me.
It's got to be what he's doing.
I don't know why I know that, but
it's not a stand-up.
Purple for the win, 1000%. Notice my purple. I don't know what it is about me and purple, but whatever. Okay, so yeah, we just have all these important containers. I just created my own just little type safe just to make sure we're good. This is going to go away. Just make a little note here. This will be an env variable now for full URL. Okay.
Yeah, and just a note on that, just like you had that function, the base URL function somewhere that actually calculated that for you.
Yeah.
And in one place you called it, and instead of calling that again, you replicated that logic, which I'm sure you know.
Oh, yeah.
So obviously, with the existing function, you could just call what you have.
Yep. I could actually go. Yeah, I could. Const-based URL equals base URL.
Yep.
I think I just need to import that.
I hate when I don't get auto imports. I use auto import for everything. It's probably named. There you go. Yeah.
But base URL is going to be, so we're just going to call this location.
Oh, because it's the so that would be that. That's actually interesting.
Duh.
And that's a potential reason for a getter, like a get base URL.
Yeah. There we go.
No, that's the function. So the variable.
There we go. Location. Yeah. There we go. Thank you. So we go through and we just say, hey, this is HTML. We have our head, the preview. So this is kind of the preview in the email. It gives you like a little preview of what the email is if you have that turned on in Outlook, Gmail, whatever. So this just will say, hey, confirm your email address. And then we wrap it in a Tailwind component just to say anything below here can access the Tailwind utilities. They have you add in, according to their documentation, the header again inside of a Tailwind component, or else it doesn't work. So I'm looking into that as to why, but we got that in there. We have our body of the email, our container, our section. So let me pull up the email right next to it. All right. This is kind of what we're looking at. We're looking at, here's the logo, which we need to change. And then we're looking at confirm your email. Here's our code box, the little code box. And then we're passing in, the link. If you didn't request this email, thank you. And that is pretty much the end. And we can style these however the heck we want. That's the great thing about this.
Is the link clickable right there?
Here?
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is where I was trying to decide, James, is do we put this full link in here or do we make this like a nice little button in here? I mean, I think this is fine as is, but
what did the template do? Is this what they did, the Notion one?
No, because their thing wasn't necessarily
it's not a link, it's like a secret code.
It's a secret code, like a magic link code, when you do those magic links. Yeah.
I've seen both. I mean, I personally think like a button or just straight text is nicer looking, but
yeah, I've seen buttons, and then I've seen them below that. If this didn't work, copy and paste this in. So I was thinking about that a little bit, James. Just something that we can. I mean, right now, does this work? Yeah, is it fine? Sure.
I would put a note for a issue to update that to be a button and a piece of text underneath that says, feedback in the chat, which is great. I'd love to hear feedback in the chat.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying it too. They're looking for the button.
Yeah. So I do button, and then exactly like you said, like if that button doesn't work, you can copy this link.
Cool. All right, we got that in there.
I'm curious what Ryan is saying on his stream.
I know. I want to go listen in.
You can watch it later. It's fine.
Ryan, who's over on your stream? That's what I want to know. Who's watching you over James?
Ellie is here.
Ellie!
She could be watching both.
Ellie, you traitor.
Hey, James, we should send Ellie a link and bring her on.
I've got 14 viewers, so, I appreciate every one of them.
Stream it.
By the way, on Twitch, Bill DeGray, welcome, by the way, said, I think it depends on the audience you're targeting. A URL that you can visually reference makes him feel more secure. So that's a good point too. For the average user, a button. For me, link. I always check the link before the button. That's actually a good point. And this is a developer audience.
That's true. Why not both though?
Yeah.
We already discussed putting in a smaller text below it, right?
Or maybe the same size text that give them an option. Yeah, just right click and copy the link from the button. Sure, both.
Sure, both. Yeah.
Bill says.
Me Too is in both our audiences, so it's just they say the same thing.
I think because It makes sense.
Yeah,
Might
it's
do
a,
both.
it's a usability thing. I mean, I get it from a security standpoint. You don't want to be clicking on something. You ever worry about that with spam messages? Like they have the unsubscribe links and like these look. Nope.
Oh yeah.
Every time.
Like they said, that's why you got to hover and check the link.
But showing both is always good, in my opinion. Hover can show
Yeah,
the link.
Michael. Yep, exactly. Cool.
All right, so we have the email confirmation portion, which is cool. Now let's go back over to the form. Where was that? Components, forms. Oh no, it's actually the subscriber. Sorry. So when they're all done, we'll go check out. So now that was the send email confirmation portion. And then the next piece is let's go to the confirm section. So this is where is it? Losing my screens. There we go. That's this section right here that we're looking at right on the screen. So I just need to add some padding there at the bottom, but back over.
Hold on real quick.
Yep.
Yeah, Bill on Twitch is asking in Gmail, how does that unsubscribe within Gmail interface get generated? And it's what you kind of touched on that, but yeah, show that one more time.
Yeah, let me show that. Let me bring that up.
Yeah, that was pretty nifty. I like that a lot because more and more apps are taking advantage of it, right?
Is it? Oh, no, it's in the actual send confirmation. So it's a part of Resend's API, but you just add it to a header. And this is what Gmail, this is what everyone looks for. So when you get an email from a mass company, like people are handling newsletters, this will automate. If it's coming from a mailing list, this is in their headers. It's an actual requirement. And things are changing too with Gmail and standards for newsletters. They're making it so that you have to have one-click unsubscribe without 5 billion verification screens. And I believe they're making this header mandatory on all mass list emails. Yep, exactly. It's a header. And so everything reads that. And if this is in the header, it has some sort of an unsubscribe link. And I know Gmail, in some instances, it looks at the email. If it has an unsubscribe link, it puts that up at the top. So
I tried to lay her down on the floor and she woke up.
She's like, no, I don't want to lay on the floor. I want to be in your arms.
She's laying on the floor wrapped in a Zeta hoodie, by the way. Shout out.
Man, Zeta's getting
jealous.
All right, so let's check out the this specific link, the specific route right here for confirm your email.
I would I know we kind of mentioned this earlier, but I would move the non-form handling functions outside of actions to just like a utils. So like if we have an email.ts inside of utils or something like that.
Yeah, let me add a little note. Just see here. So we have, so really that's anything that's not a form. So that would be this. Yeah, we can do that. I'm just going to add a note. To Todd. I don't know who Todd is. Todd, move to utils folder since this.
Dang, I can't believe I ruined this by trying to put her on the floor. Now she's awake.
Oh,
she's
no.
so peacefully asleep.
All right. So I made a note there and I'll do it for all the others. Okay. When we click on the verification link, so actually first, it's the confirm link. We have two, by the way, James, I had to do this 2 ways. So a page that if you just go to the confirm link without a token, it's going to reroute you through. And then over here, this is the actual token route. Okay. So I'm bringing in from React icons, just that exclamation circle. We're using redirect at the end of this. And then resend confirmation, like little button component that I built. So we're doing Zeta. We got our params that are coming on in because this is a param. We're passing it in as a target. Sorry, token. So we get our params up here, the token equals params.token. If there is no token, we're going to redirect. If there is a token, we're going to go ahead and get the subscriber. If there is no subscriber or no subscriber email for whatever reason, we redirect. If the subscriber is verified, this is one that I added in, James, because what if they go here and, oh, they're verified? Well, we're going to redirect them to the preferences. They don't need to verify because they're already verified. From there, we're going to create that subscriber data down here. Okay.
Sorry, let me make sure I'm straight. So this is which page is this on?
This is the thank you. So this is the,
okay, gotcha.
This is this page right here.
Yep. Okay.
So we got their email, unverified. So we're just kind of pulling in the subscriber data, and I kind of pulled in some stuff just in case we would need it or not. But yeah, we create that as its own object. So subscriber data with their ID, email, verified, and token. The email, we can make this easier and just call it, but I just kind of email subscriber data.email.
One thing you can do with show me where the subscriber is.
It's up here.
So you can destructure those properties on the next line. So like on 24, you can destructure all those properties and not have to repeat subscriber.
Oh, so you can
you can use the shorthand there as well.
Got it. So this would just be const email, right?
And I'll answer another question in the chat. So Bill is asking, what happens in the flow if it's an invalid token? So an invalid token would basically be you queried for a subscriber by that token and it doesn't match.
So then the subscriber wouldn't come back right here. So that isn't working, Jim. Hold on. Email subscriber.email.
Email does not exist on.
Wait, what happened here?
What does
email?
Hover over subscriber on 21 and show me what type that is.
Okay.
It's because we haven't checked to see if subscriber is null. So do that after.
Oh yes,
after we've checked the subscriber.
There we go.
I think, although it's still saying the same thing, right?
Verified it got. Email. Oh, it's because cannot. Okay, that's fine. We're reblocking it, but.
Oh yeah. Okay, that. And then what about token?
Token. We need. Okay, so token already exists up here to fetch the user.
Yeah, what I do in situations like that is name the second token, so 29, something that says like fetched subscriber token or something.
Do I do that as or?
I think it's colon, like an alias.
Oh, fetched token. There we go. Thank you. It is. Yeah.
And the other thing we could do is just not destructure token. So like if you took
we don't need to. Yeah, because it already exists.
And then still leave 39 the same, but then update destructure ID as well, and then use the shorthand for ID, email, and verified.
Is
an ID.
All right, so then this is just gonna be
Bill. I think that answered your question, but great question.
Email, dude. This is verified, and then really,
you could just leave that.
We don't even. Yeah, well, that's just the.
Oh well, they're all the same.
Well, no, they're all the same, right?
It
should be the same thing. So
yeah, good point. Great call.
All right, so then.
Hard-coded localhost.
Yeah, this is stuff I got to clean up.
Yeah.
Can you go back up real quick? I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please bring in this URL from ENB. Okay, scroll up. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just confused as to. So you have const ID email verified equals subscriber, but then you're declaring another variable of subscriber data. Why can't you just use subscriber again? and like pull that information. If it already exists in
Yeah, it's
subscriber.
good question.
Email.
Oh, I also just realized while you're looking for that, I realized why your editor was confusing the shit out of me is because you have a sticky top line for the function. Because when I asked you to scroll up earlier, and I was like, I swear you did some work in this function above that line. But wow, I haven't seen that. That's like, it's kind of neat because you can see what function you're in, but that confused the shit out of me.
It's a newer feature from VS Code.
Okay.
What?
Interesting.
Information link.
Just do a search for
this is
canned
not
data.
this is not needed anymore. So hold on, ready? I don't need this.
And then just reference token in there.
Just reference token.
I love the sticky scroll. Interesting. Yeah, I haven't done that.
It's happened in the newer update.
I think the database request should be abstracted to an actions file. It's interesting. I feel like if there was more to the database request, it would make more sense.
I mean, this is a basic
the database. Like if you abstracted that to another file, you'd literally just be writing the same thing. So I think in this case, it probably doesn't matter that much if you're doing anything additional with formatting the database request or the data coming back or something. I think that would make a lot of sense.
All right. So let's kind of go through this again. We got the token coming in, token redirect. We get the subscriber. If the subscriber doesn't exist or for whatever reason, email redirect. We're going to abstract the email or deconstruct the email. Hold on. Yep, subscriber.verified. Then we go to the preferences page. We're going to create.
Can you just use the verified?
Oh,
did
we changed that. No, we did that.
Oh, you just took it away. Okay. And then it's saying you haven't used it yet. So then just use the verified property. Yep. Yeah.
Verify spelling.
It's hard. Oh, by the way, I sent I don't think she ever responded.
Oh,
I sent Becca. I mean, she's also got 4 kids.
Yeah, she's also pretty busy.
I can imagine.
All right. Oh, for a minute that was underlined. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're good. I have to recreate the confirmation link, James, because, and again, I know that's hard coded. We'll fix that.
You got line 32 as well. My chat's pointing out. Sorry, since you're cleaning it up. Subscriber.
Thank you.
Token we left.
Yep. No, we're good.
So token we left because we already had a variable called token defined at the top of that function.
Yep.
So that was intentional.
Oh, okay.
Another thing we could do is I would go back to what it was, but we could just rename the original token that we processed. Go back to where you define that at the top. So you could call that token from params or token param or like something like that. So that would avoid a little bit of the confusion.
Token from params.
And so now you need to replace it on 17.
Token from params filter.
Yep.
There we go. All right.
And then destructure
token. And then we're good to go. Okay, so that way we know that, hey, token from params to fetch, and then we'll make sure we're using the one from the subscriber, even though they could be the same. Just okay, that way. Okay, there we go. We recreate the confirmation link, which I'm sure we might be able to put that into a util, James. That way it's not reused in a couple places because we do reuse this in another function
to generate the confirmation
link. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Also, someone comments on YouTube, 1 hour code review or design review, too long for a code review of more than 15 minutes. Eat lunch, prepare to draw. Yeah, so this is an intentionally long situation that we are trying to spend a lot of detailed time with people who are contributing to a project for the first time to discuss. And to do it on stream too. So this is very intentional.
it's been a well-needed. I mean, James has been super busy. James has also been sick. We just brought Ryan in. We're bringing Ellie Zub in. And so it's an opportunity for James to walk through the code in a more detailed manner, to give me feedback. And it's great, because I'm learning a ton. That's the whole goal of this project. And, if you're out there watching on YouTube, I am nobody special. I just reached out to James and said, hey, I saw him at a conference. We met a year ago. That conference, I went up to him and said, I would love to help out on a real world project rather than make some random side projects that I'm never going to deploy. Yeah. And that's all it took. Don't be afraid to ask. That's my advice up there. Go to conferences, network, give back to the community, learn. And it's been a great opportunity to hang out and do this.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm going to do a couple more comments. Michael asking about the Shure mic. Yes. So this is the Shure SM7B. This is fairly standard, like one of the most popular ones that you'll see on stream. And then which are you using like a Rode Podcaster or something?
Rode Pod mic.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. Sweet.
Yep. I use a Rode Pod mic with a cloud lifter to a Scarlett Solo
interface or Scarlett preamp. Or no, interface is Scarlett, and then
the preamp is the cloud lifter.
Yeah. And then I have a DBX 2886S preamp, and then the Scarlett and Shure SM7B.
Yep.
Also, someone commented, Matthias said, I love in the long laid back code review. Good. I'm glad. I appreciate it.
I don't know what he's talking. Chris, you are special. Thank you, Hermes. I appreciate that.
Chris is a Giga Chad?
A Giga Chad.
Is that a thing?
Is that a Giga? You're not that old, James. Come on.
No,
I don't know what a Giga Chad is.
Giga Chad is just like a boss, basically.
Okay. Fair enough.
Chris is a boss. Chris is just so well versed in stuff like this.
Also, another comment, Ben on YouTube. I started intensive boot camp 5 days a week, and we start every morning with an hour code review of yesterday's exercise.
That's great.
Especially when you're early, like this sort of stuff is super important. If you have a well-established team that's been working together for a while, and you have a kind of a strict rule about size of PRs and how long it should take, that's great. That's not the scenario that we're in. So
yeah, definitely not.
Yeah. All right, so we'll add this to a util function for now. This is all of the code. Ignore I don't know if you've ever seen these, but this is to get the 22%. We can adjust this.
Opacity? Is that okay? Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen that. So you can do an actual number.
I think I've seen that like once.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is it's like when you use the RGB and the RGB values, comma, space for the opacity. And CSS, this is just a short way to do it. And then if they only go up by 4s in the utility, and you can change that in the file. But again, me being,
dude, that is new. That is something else.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. What show me that color, like show me the UI page for that. Which color is that? The background of the unverified tag.
Oh no, hold on. There, how about generating the page?
Can you do a refresh?
Yeah, let me refresh.
That may, like, as we're changing code and stuff, there's a chance.
Unsubscriber filter invalid column token from params.
So on the filter, this is where we can't use the shorthand. So I think we had used the shorthand, but since we renamed the original token, that needs to be line 22 needs to be token from params. And then this is, by the way, this is in Zeta, you get a TypeScript generated SDK. The SDK generates TypeScript typings. And
that is awesome that just came from, that is cool.
Yeah, that's wild.
That is a cool feature.
And it's connected to your actual database types. So as you change anything in the database, you can run a code gen in the terminal and it regenerates those types for you, which is pretty sick.
That is sick. I love that. All right, so this is the page, James. So this is that unverified color. This is based on the Figma file that we got.
Okay.
So we can change that as needed. I just kind of wanted to see what it would look like.
I imagine they've got so many colors now. Like I would probably at some point go back and just choose like I think goldenrod and like a light version of goldenrod, I think.
Yeah.
Something
Amber,
like that.
Yeah.
Hermes is also asking about the hard-coded metrics like the 0.22 and something. If that's necessary, you got to do what you got to do. But I think one of the things we talked about refactoring eventually
Yeah, like
is to use more of the built-in Tailwind stuff.
Yeah, I'll show you if I go here. Why is it not working right now? Where's my IntelliSense?
GG, this is not test-driven, and I think that would be an amazing thing for us to do is to add tests to this.
Oh gosh, yeah, that's a whole another can of worms, man.
It's more
Which
to
could very well
learn.
change how we like create these functions and stuff.
Yeah.
Rake, I forgot to acknowledge you earlier, really late in Europe. Thank you so much for watching. And this is your first chat and on Twitch. So thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'll see you in some of the streams in the future.
Welcome, Rake. Yeah, so you can see here, this is just saying the background color. And we're saying it just passes as an RGB function. And then uses 22%.
Cool.
Is that necessary? No, there are other things that we can. I mean, you don't have the brackets is just custom. Again, just to reiterate, I went a little crazy on being exact to Figma and not just getting.
And we definitely have flexibility there. Change that to is goldenrod a color? Change that to like goldenrod 200 real quick and see how different that is. Like if you get rid of the opacity. Because part of what the opacity is doing there is taking advantage of the background. But goldenrod, I think, is a pretty close. Is goldenrod not one? There's another.
I think it's amber. It's not yellow or orange.
There we go. Which one? 500?
400? Yeah, try 5. See. And then what I would do on top of that, you'll see a lot is people then do the text as a darker version of that. So you could do like an amber 800 or 900.
800.
And that's that's just for that icon. So you'd have to do it on the move that to the container.
Yep,
as well.
Div, yep.
Boom.
That's still not as good as probably a bold on that and maybe the 900 on the text. But we can go back to what it was.
Yeah.
And not like we can figure it out later. I just want to see what that would look like real quick.
That looks a little better, but okay. Let's go back to.
And we like that's not a color from the design that we have like reused in other places, I don't think. So I don't think we have like a custom full color palette for alerts and stuff in the design.
We don't, but that's something we can issue, build out, James.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of things in here that I would like our teal 500. I would like to make an actual primary, and you could just call it a primary number or not a primary number, but you know what I mean? Let's see here. So yeah, that is all this. And then basically the reason why we're gathering all this information is if for whatever reason I didn't get my token, I can resend confirmation email sent.
And so what that button on the front end, does that call a server action then?
Yeah, that is the actual true
server action.
Yeah, that is the same server action that's used from a form. We're just instead of using the form. No. Hold on. Let me look at the code here.
Actually, that would be a good use case to keep that in actions because you're actually using it that way. But then you can call it as not a server action.
Where is what's the component? Resend confirmation.
Hermes says since it's a hard-coded color, that makes it easy for us to replace instances of that hard-coded color refactor down the line. Yeah.
So let's see here. Yep.
And probably so. Resend. There's no logic inside of resend confirmation.
No, we're just sending we're basically what I'm calling is send confirmation. Which actually this would move to a utility. This is not the only thing in here that is an actual server action is going to be the subscribe function because that's pulling in the form data. Everything else is just pulling in props. So ID, subscriber data, to delete. We're bringing in the ID of the user. And then even the send confirmation, all we're doing is an email and a link. So I think we can create a folder in utils called Resend and store them there.
Yep. And just have, I think you just have send confirmation email as a function and just call that directly. Yeah.
Yep.
Also, so it's an interesting question that we haven't addressed at all. I think go back to where was it that you called the send confirmation email action a second ago?
Right here so this is in this page right here. So this is the
in the code.
Oh, hold on. Resend.
It is in resend confirmation and okay, so your send confirmation email returns a data object that returns back data and an error.
So if there's an error, it says, hey.
Yep. That is so there's a couple of typical ways that you do that, and this is perfectly valid.
Yeah.
The other approach is to throw an error. So we actually saw that with the Zod parsing earlier.
Yeah.
Where you can call safe parse, which doesn't throw an error, but returns you an object that has an error on it, or it could just throw an error. So this would be a good way for us to maintain this idea with other functions so that it returns a data object or it returns a response that both includes a piece of data and then or an error. And so what we can do eventually is define a TypeScript type for that.
Oh yeah.
To know that a given function is going to return one of those two things. And then do you know what generics are in TypeScript?
Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with.
Well, so you can.
I haven't used them often, but
I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yes.
So you can define your return value dynamically for each different function based on the data it's going to return. We're a little far from that. Like this is not super important, but turning this into like a best practice of how we think we're going to do function returns.
Yeah.
In here would be valuable. So
agreed. And I would love to add those into. I mean, man, we're getting a lot of things to add, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's good.
One thing I would change here. Typically, you'll do your error check first. So I would move that above checking the actual data. And then I would do a return in there, most likely like return the toast.error. Toast.error probably doesn't return anything, but you're just like breaking out of this context.
Yeah. Or
okay.
Yep.
And then actually in that case, you don't even have to have the else or the additional if. Yep. And the other thing is I would go ahead and destructure instead of assigning that to the name of data, I would destructure right in line error and data.
Oh, there you go. So kind of like error data and then data. Actually, we don't. Oh yeah, and then error. There we go.
And that, yep.
Dude, that's brilliant.
Hermes, are we team defined return types or inferred? I don't actually know what inferred return types are, so I'm not sure.
It sounds like something that you just leave up to the code to decide based on its context. I don't know.
Oh, I may be thinking this is a much more technical thing than it is.
Could be.
So you're saying not define the function with a explicit return type, just return data, and that's kind of the answer. Maybe I was thinking this is okay. Yeah, I like to be specific on that. I would like to define the actual return type.
Hey, on line 25, it shouldn't be if error, right?
Yes. Yeah, good call.
Thank you, Zeramound, my chat.
Yeah, nice. I'm glad. See, this is why we have people.
I love it.
Multi-stream code review. It's great.
Multi-streamed. It's like we're in that. You ever see the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Yeah, it's so good.
Bill
Cedric on YouTube just called the same thing. Thank you, Cedric. Good catch.
There it is.
Yeah.
Bill DeGray says dev giveaways component ? So a new course website this is in his Yoda voice. Not a course, but we're going to be collecting deals for devs.com across all of the interwebs. And I think the idea is at times there's people out there who love to give away, James may go, you know what, I'm going to give away an Astro course this month, for, let's say it's Hacktoberfest or whatever. He can offer that as a giveaway. And then we have to do a giveaway logic where we'll collect email addresses, randomly choose an email, and then it's a whole another feature for another time. Cedric, thank you. Yes, if air instead of data, we got that in there for sure. Good eye, everyone. And with that being said, do we really need data? Because we're not even using it.
It doesn't look like it, right?
So there's nothing in there that we need?
No.
Because you're defining your confirmation or your success message. Yeah.
Nope. It's just, hey, confirmation email sent. We're not returning them anything. It's just all that, just so you know, all that's returned from an email is the email ID and resend. So you can go to resend and pull up an email ID. And James, there's a whole nother level of stuff we could do here where with that email ID, we can then check to see, is it opened? And then if it's open, we can get a percentage rate on, like it's a whole lot of cool stuff that we can do for metrics on the back end, but I digress.
Devin, Sarah, what's up? There's one last thing I thought I was going to say. Oh, so what you've got there is a common pattern. So you'll see, even if there's no data returned, you'll see that same thing where you destructure error and then check that. I think the Supabase SDK is like that.
Yep.
So Supabase returns an error and data in there.
Yep, it does. Yeah, same thing for them. So this is that resend confirmation component that came from here, which is right here, so they can resend the email if they want, and then it'll come through in
the
email. So pretty cool. All right,
Ryan, I just saw your tweet from 3 hours ago. Tonight's stream is being used. Pushback is probably what you meant. By 30 minutes due to something exciting in the works.
That's something exciting was me joining you two on this.
I like it.
All right. So I just need to go into my email real quick and then verify that. So let's go through. There's two more functions to go through, James. All right. So we need to go through.
And this page will never have any update. If you go and so this is not needed at all. An interesting thing we could do is add a polling cycle to this page.
Yeah.
To start polling for status updates and then do like a
if verified, just
actually
that's a really good idea.
Not necessary at all. And it's not even like it's just neat. It's not even that useful because the people are going to open that other link, which makes sense.
It's just neat.
Take care of it.
It's just neat, James.
Which if we want little neat things, that's cool too.
Well, I think it's great things for those. I mean, the whole goal of this is to get people, we get people excited to start contributing. You run the learn build tech community, James, and so we want people to learn. I'm learning just by doing a code review. I'm by no means claim to be an expert at all. But I think the idea here is that little cool features like that give us something to learn. I'm working on a blog post called "Why You Should Over Engineer Your Portfolio Website as a New Developer," and this is an exact reason why. I added resend to my portfolio website. Is it necessary? No. Was it fun? Yes. Did I learn something? Yes. And I was able to contribute something valuable to James based on something he had not yet played with, and I had. And I got a lot of flack a while back from over engineering. Like someone said a long time ago, last year on Twitter, they said, this site could have been done just with HTML and CSS. And you're not wrong. It could have. Sure, absolutely. But then my goal is wanting to break into tech as a developer, right? I need to learn. And how do we learn? Well, I'm going to mess with my portfolio site to bring in new technologies to play with things and learn. So same thing here.
That's like our playground, right?
Yeah.
So to mess with everything new. I did the same thing. I didn't need a CMS with Astro, but I needed to learn how to do it. So exactly.
What CMS are you using?
I'm using Storyblock.
I want to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
Because I was I want to add a section. I've been meaning to add a section on that to my course.
Your Astro course.
The way Storyblock organizes stuff just confuses me a little bit, like their language.
Yeah,
So it'd be good to check out what you did.
definitely. It's like very branded language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bots1, welcome. Devin Sarah mentioned the ones that give you a 6-digit code is nice. I don't see that as much for confirmation. I see that more for or as often. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't see it as often for confirmation emails. I see that more for auth tokens.
Yeah.
Not as common, yeah. But it could be nice. Maybe it's better.
It's something to learn.
Maybe it should be, yeah.
Cool. All right, I got that note in there. Let's say our subscriber. Okay. So we do have the validate function, and this is what happens when the user clicks on this link right here. All right. So if you see the path is validate with the token, right? Did we already do this? We already did this, didn't we? No, we didn't. We didn't
did
do
something
this yet.
similar though.
We did something similar. Yeah, actually, it's very similar. It's kind of thinking it's a little bit
Too similar,
but
maybe. So I just heard it's a little too quiet. It's from, or like one of the places it's from is Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze.
Oh yeah,
like 92, which is one of my
long
favorite
time
movies of
ago.
all time. Like that's the Ninja Turtles is the most nostalgic thing that I have.
Really?
I remember playing that on Nintendo, dude. I
loved the Super Nintendo game was fantastic.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Was that the movie with when Vanilla Ice was in it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ninja rap.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right at the end. So wait. Oh, so you're able to get search params in here
because it's a server component. So this is what is validating the token to make sure, hey, you know, this is how we confirm the email address.
So where did we not know how to get that? Isn't that what we wanted to do?
Yeah. No. We wanted to do that in. All right. So if we go back to the confirm token page, right? This page right here is not able to do it.
Okay. Can someone clarify that you?
Yeah.
Surely someone can. Next.js, how do you get a query parameter
and a server
component page?
And it's interesting if you look up there, use search params hook that they have, it says client component, unless you are in, you know, a route where you can actually, you know, tap into the to the my brain is starting to fry params. I'm just saying words now. Params.
Yeah.
Fry. Okay. So this is the route that happens when they click on validate. We go to validate. It's going to check the token. So we're going to get our search params from up here. We're going to go ahead and grab the token. If there is no token, right, for whatever reason, we're going to redirect, right? So we don't want people going to the validate section just to validate. Otherwise, and we know that filters, we do have to keep it separate right here for Zeta for type safe, but we're going to get
not exact. So you can do that. We just had we had renamed a variable before. So you can use the shorthand there.
Okay.
So there's nothing Zeta specific. Like those are just JavaScript objects.
Oh, gotcha. I get what you're saying.
Earlier we had renamed that thing, and then we were trying to put it in there as token from params, but the property the column name that we're searching against is token.
Got it.
So that's why. So you can still use the shorthand. This just says we want to query, or we want to filter on the token column with the property, with the value associated with this token variable.
That makes sense. To do, I'm just going to put in here add error checking.
What error would you?
Here for whatever reason. So this would be a try catch or something that we would do here. But basically, if you get to this point, excuse me, there's a subscriber, and then that subscriber, then you use their subscriber ID. Cool, right here. which we could probably destructure that, right, if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here. Well,
Yeah, I always wonder what people do if so like if you need to keep that's true too. Bill, token is in the URL. So you already have the token.
yep.
You're
But you have to-
searching. So that token should be the same as the token property associated with the user because we queried based on that.
Right.
So
So,
you could,
really, this could just be token,
yeah.
Right.
right? That's a valid point because it's the same thing.
Data.
And then technically, you could do. Nope, never mind, because we check for subscriber first.
Yeah, I was
If
wondering
there's-
what people would do with that. So on line 19 or something, you could destructure from subscriber ID.
I would have
And
to
that,
do it
like,
after here, actually.
Yeah. So you could do that there.
And is that really? I mean, just in general. I mean, is this a best practice thing? To make it
It's-
simple here, or does it add more unnecessary? Because this line of
Another
code
line of
wouldn't be
code.
needed. You know what I mean?
For me, this is ambiguous because of the specific use case where we also needed to use subscriber. I forget, there may be a way to say, there may be a way to do all that in one line to keep subscriber and destructure something on 16, but I don't know. I would say this kind of follows what we've been doing mostly.
Keep it consistent. Yeah, we'll just keep it consistent. Yeah.
But it was a greater benefit in other places.
It really was. It made the code look so much cleaner. And I mean, even this is cleaning up a little bit. I mean, that just kind of makes that look nice down there. We'll just keep it to be consistent with how we're doing it across the app. And then what we're saying here is, hey, really what we could do is we could go, we could say get this, and then if
Wrong
right?
wrong place. So Zeta SDK does not do the error property.
Oh, got it.
Interesting.
So that when we were talking about that was with functions that we define. Zeta will throw an error, so we would need to handle that error in a catch. And actually, I should. We'd have to double check specifically how they handle update.
Yeah.
So it could throw an error, or it may just return null. We'd have to check.
Yeah, so I just have it in our to-do up here just to add error checking. But really, by the time you get to this point, you have a subscriber, and then you know that their email is valid because you just tested that link only exists in their email at first. And so we set their verified status to true, and they are now subscribed. So until this point, they stay unsubscribed, so we don't waste emails going out to people who have not verified their email, right? Kind of makes sense. And then when they're done, we redirect them to the preferences page, which is where we will go to next.
Yeah. Bill is saying still see the token in the redirect preferences. What do you mean? I'm assuming you have a question or concern about that. So what's on your mind, Bill?
Bill, we're getting this token, Bill, we're pulling from the params in order to access the URL. We got to get it through search params. That's how we get it out of the URL and into the component. So I just defined a variable token.
Create or replace partial update. Can you hover, if you scroll down, can you hover on, Bill, so this is not secret, which is very, it's interesting. And I think this is just how it is for email, because we don't want or need people to be actually like logged in.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, you never do anything to log in when you unsubscribe, or rarely do you do. And if you do have to, it's annoying.
Yep.
Chris, if you scroll down to the update line and just hover on the update function, I'm curious so it returns a promise so it can return null. I wonder, does it say
the full persist record null if the record could not be found? I wonder if we have to create the error, like if null, throw.
I don't know what the scenario is. I think it could still throw an error. I think what we would do for error handling, if you just want to stub this out, is do like if not data, and then comment handle error or handle not found.
Yeah, let's do this. If not data. And then we're just gonna go.
You just do a to do for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also the chance though, for some odd reason, that it actually throws an error, so that it's probably technically a required thing to handle, or should be to handle that as well. It's not likely to trigger. But then from there you can
And then from there, I
Yeah.
mean,
get
actually, for
rid of the
right
if
now,
condition.
we'll just say return for right now. And then we can get rid of that, because then by that point, that should be
Yeah.
right.
And this is where simple applications get really complicated, because if you have an error there, or if you can't find that data, what would you do?
Right. There's nothing. I mean, there's nothing indicating, because at this point, user is right here. Right. So when they, or no, they're not here. They click
Yeah,
verify.
from the email. Yeah.
So that's where. So let's click verify real quick. Let's just click this. Okay. I think we're up at this one now. Cool. So I think the question then becomes, if it comes back, we send them to a page that says application, like a default application error page or something, because instead
Yeah.
of going to the preferences, we would have to come up with something here, like not a 404, and then maybe like redirects back to the main page with that, or hey, contact
Yeah, I would
support with this ID or something. Or
yeah, I would have some sort of feedback specific to this, of like that user wasn't found, and I don't know what scenario that could happen.
Right.
But you want to be able to give them some idea. But yeah, I'm not sure what the answer is yet.
Yeah,
I think what you got is most of it. Yeah.
some sort.
Bill said more familiar with API development, so automatically you concern where I see a token in URL. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
We talked about that. I mean, James and I kind of went back and forth,
Yeah.
talking through like, what, I mean, do we need to log in? Do we not log in? And we realized all we're storing is a user email and what they're interested in. We're not storing passwords. We're not storing anything else. So there's really nothing sensitive except for that email address. We even, I think, talked about using cookies, storing them in cookies. But then if you store them in cookies, you need authentication, and then it just gets a little. And so this is, I think, the best approach we came up with.
This is pretty elegant, yeah, and as minimal as possible, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
Cool. All right, so we got that added in there, and then the final page to look at. I also organized this a little bit, James. So the admin dashboard page. Here's your auth pages, and then our subscriber pages, just to make it a little bit easier to find. We go to the preferences. A token is passed in, and this is this page.
Right? So we could. I'm looking at that thing. We've got a couple places where we check for token and redirect. So we could potentially.
Yeah, that could be brought. That could abstract it out.
That's like, these are tiny snippets of code. That's not something that I am worried about at all.
No, I'm not worried about that either. But we are getting to the similar situation here, right? I mean, we just went through this. Token. What did we say last time? Token from
params. Yeah.
Token from
params.
Token from params. If token from params, then token, right? Token from params. And then we do structure const. Gonna go ID, email. I think all of those.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
a little.
Well, it is gross up there, but it would help where you
down
get
here.
Right. So you still are getting the value out of that. Well, and part of the why do we need to create a new subscriber data object if we've already queried it?
Didn't we do that earlier if we changed it?
Well, no, this one is because we're passing it into the subscriber because this is a server component, not a client component. Which means why wouldn't we be able to? I think I changed this. This should be able to actually get to the params because this is a server component because it's an async function, James. Something happened where this didn't work before. So let me walk through what this is doing and then we, so, we'll destructure that in a minute. So basically I get all the subscriber data. Oh, I know what, no, I don't remember.
Yeah, I think you can skip that and just use a subscriber that you queried from the database.
I think so, but I was getting an error. Let me just get rid of this let me just try something. Hold on. I don't want to delete that yet. Let me just get rid of this. Comment this out. Then email. Subscriber. I just want to make sure this works. I think what happens. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. That's not wrong. Oh, it does work. Well, poop on a cracker. Poop on a cracker and call me Santa. This is why.
You know what's funny? I just saw that like a similar phrase in a book last night, and the person was like, "What does that mean?" He was like, "It's a very common phrase," and I was like, "I definitely know that phrase."
Yeah, that's the first for me.
You know,
there's a million variations of that too.
I think this is one of those things, James, where it was probably like 1 a.m. and I was working on this and something came up. I'm like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Well, we just got rid of
a lot of code that you can change. Also, I'm curious on, you have as string and as Boolean. If you scroll back down.
Yes.
I don't think that'll be necessary now because it should.
Oh, it should. But then
it's got TypeScript types for the subscriber.
Yep. I think it's because I made it into a new data
that it didn't know anything about.
And so then it made me put that in as string. I made it way too Man.
Happens.
Cool. It happens. Okay. We won't get into all the Tailwind stuff, but basically walking through this is we have, the email verified at the top, subscriber preferences, and then I kind of created this because this has to be a client component in order to click on, and it's a form and all that fun stuff. I made it its own. Actually, I made it its own component down here. Let me pull that up. And then I think we can make some updates here. But basically, this is there's a lot of code in here. Whew. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting tired. It's been a long day.
Yeah, it is.
But basically what we have here is we're passing in the subscriber information, which is based off of, I'm pulling this right from Zeta, James, for the type safe right here. The reason why I have this in state is because it changes, right? So if I'm in here, we're changing it, right? So that's for that state. And then this set update is for this right here. So if I were to refresh this right here, I didn't update any preferences yet. As soon as I click on one of these, it sets the update to, that way that's what that default button is checked to, or the deactivated button is set to. I have the function for handle change every time the checkbox is changed. So basically it's saying, we're checked or not checked. So basically I destructure the event target. Hey, I actually destructured something somewhere. And then we update the subscriber data where we copy in the previous data and do this as well. And then, hey, because something changed, we set update to true. All right. So
Bill said we set a record for the longest code review ever. Is this what they say when they talk about limiting your PRs? Yeah, we did not follow at all. We've kind of talked about this several times. Like after this initial thing, we will actually try to follow a process of doing issues and smaller PRs and stuff.
Yep.
This was me starting a project with no idea what it would be and just throwing shit in there. And then another person getting really excited and doing a lot of work, and me not having any structure around like how do we do this together. So yes, this will
We'll dial it in.
this will get better. I'm
I feel
wondering.
Feel
Don't
bad
feel
for
bad.
Chris.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. This is awesome.
He asked for it.
I am having the time of my life.
On
Seriously.
the well, no, maybe not. Okay. The rest of us can just drift in and out. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we have to copy in the previous data because we're only changing the check mark of one instance of one name, right?
Yeah.
So we don't want to overwrite everything with that. So that's why I copied in all the, just
Yeah.
the current.
Yeah. I was looking at something else, but I think you're good.
All right. So then this piece right here, don't let this overwhelm you. I'm going to be moving this out to like a data, like a lib data folder or something, James, but this is just all the categories. And if subscribed is true or not. And what I do with that is I loop through these for the checkboxes. So basically that way I didn't have to do the code a bunch of times,
I wonder, this is what I was wondering about, if we can reference our enum for categories.
This is the enum that I think you have down.
Sorry, I've heard enum before, but I'm blanking on what is enum right now.
So basically enum, this piece right here, you're basically saying it has to be one of these things or nothing at all.
Okay.
So it has to
I
be
see.
ebook, course, tool, conference, MISC, bootcamp, or office equipment. Can you
What's
loop
funny,
through? And you do it actually, James.
you can, you can
you
loop
do
through it. So
it.
there may be a way to use this.
Nope, you
also,
do it right here.
For reference. Oh, but we should be able to. Well, I think that was specific because I didn't put all the categories in there for a reason. I can't remember.
Oh.
But that actually probably just needs to be updated. So you can iterate through keys in an enum, which we could probably use. Also, there's some, I still haven't watched the video about people being really opinionated, honestly, about why enums are terrible. I haven't watched the video. Almost 99% sure the answer is like, there's some really rare use case that really doesn't matter most of the time for why you shouldn't use that. And I just haven't learned that. So I use enums. And somebody, if enough people watch this, they will jump in and tell us why it's terrible. But for now, that's what we have. What we should really do is have those stored in a database and not hard coded to start. We should query those from the database. That's one thing that we could do long term.
It just create a categories table.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just going to add to-do notes because then I can pull this up later.
Yeah.
Add category table.
Jess just got home too, so I'm probably leaving in a few minutes.
That's fine.
But I think we're pretty close.
I think we're, so let me kind of walk through this really quickly.
Yeah.
So we iterate through all of these. I have a function to update the subscription, which just takes in a value. Oh, actually, I don't think I need that because it'll know. Oh no, it actually is saying Boolean because we don't know. It doesn't know where it's coming from. Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of create a new data copy of the subscriber, and then
so that val is if we're doing
correct. If we're
unsubscribe
unsubscribing
from all
or
subscribe for all.
Correct. So basically it's saying true, false. That's it.
That
all right.
I might rename, trying to think what that would be.
Like the val?
No, the function name. Probably update all update all subscriptions or something that implies like this is for all of them.
Rename function.
And you have it plural. So plural I would associate with like an array. So you'd pass in like an array of values. For this, I
think I was thinking plural because we're updating oh, you're right. It's one subscription to multiple.
Yeah, like you're not passing in different values, you're passing in one value. So update
applies to
just all subscriptions, I think is good.
Oh, this right here, the function name, all subscriptions?
Yeah. Keep update. So update all subscriptions. And if you command Z to go back before, like go back to the original name and then highlight update subscriptions and do function F2, and then this will refactor rename, so it'll actually update all the places that it calls it.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
What just happened to my mind?
That is tremendous.
Somebody should clip this. I love that.
Please clip it and clip my.
Yeah. That's
Hold on.
amazing.
What is this nonsense? Function
F2
Two.
is like refactor rename. It'll even do it like if you call that function from other files, it'll even update those too.
That is insane.
I'm wondering, being picky, I would probably update val to be something more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't have a great suggestion. It's just a little vague.
Yep. Update val. All right. Let's see here. We update the state afterwards, right? So that way what we see on the screen kind of updates, right? And then we update the database.
Now where is the update? Wait, update where, because this is a client component. Is that right? Right, because we're using use state and stuff. Where's the update?
It's coming from an action. It's really not an action. It's just a server component that I'm pulling in to be able to do this. So,
she's asleep. How'd it go?
Did they win?
Did you win? She said no.
No. That was a very quick response.
Yeah, really.
What do you think?
Happy about it.
Dismissive, no. She's been whining at me. I don't know why. Lily. Maybe. I'm gonna wrap up in a few minutes. Now that you're on.
All right. But yeah, this is just we update all the information. I can probably deconstruct in here. We have our toast saying, hey, you've been subscribed. So you've been, if the value is true, subscribed to, or if it's false, unsubscribed from, right? All notifications. There's an error. So if there's an error, we will notify them of the error via the toast.
So I'm thinking this through. If you call an action from a client component and it's not form related, does that just make an HTTP request for you?
I think so. I mean, this works. I mean, it's
right.
I mean,
you did it before too, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, before we were calling it already on the server, I think.
No, you used it before in a client
really
component as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you can.
If that's the case, then one, I'm kind of mind blown. Two, that's less of a reason to refactor out of that directory if they can be used that way.
Right.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Look into if this is actually. Look into.
Yeah, we'll have to.
If update pref is really being used as a server action, or.
Yeah, that's kind of a game changer. There's a library someone built a while back to basically allow that in Next.js. It was actually in Blitz.
Yeah, I heard about that
from Brandon. And then he was abstracting that to tools for Next.js. But it was basically the idea of like you define functions and you can call them. But basically what he did behind the scenes was making an HTTP request.
Right.
That's interesting.
We'll have to look into that. But it works. And we don't get an error back. And I mean, look, we're unsubscribed from all. Boom. And it's updating the database, no problem. I know it's updating the database because I've actually looked at the return data in the console log. So
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, pretty cool. So there's our toast. So we have our subscribe to all, which is basic. That's where we're passing in update all subscriptions true, update all subscriptions false. Our checkboxes. So this is our subscribe category. That's that function I have up top, or that object.
Yeah.
The array of objects, and then the checkbox we're just kind of is checked, category name, and I had to get really creative here because I didn't want to do a whole bunch of custom props under here. So if I go to the, what is it called? Category checkbox. Category select. Where is it? Subscriber.
I think if you command click
There
on
it is.
category checkbox, it'll automatically open
True.
the file
Yeah,
for you.
it's in the wrong. It's in the wrong. But this is how I get the category name to show up correctly.
Category name, category.split.
So because I'm passing, because the actual name of this in the database is the category notifications, right? So and so you have to strip out the notifications, right? So we're stripping that out. We're changing that first character to uppercase, then bringing it all back in together, and that gets you this, rather than creating a whole nother line in the object for what is the name of this. It kind of pulls it right from what exists, you know.
Category notification. So in the what's the original thing? What's the parameter there?
Yep.
That's passed in. Where does that come from?
That comes from, oh, hold on. Where am I? That comes from, so the category got name, and this is from up here, the subscribed categories. All right. So we have the name, course notifications.
Why? What is that name property used for?
Right here. So that's use subscriber data, course notifications.
Well, no, I mean, where do you use the actual name property? Like, when do you reference the name property?
Good question. I think it's just used
in the checkbox
and the button. Why did I do that?
Yeah, so if you're, I didn't know if you were using.
Hold on. Why did I do that? I know I had a reason for doing that. Oh, it's because I need it for is checked. So here's why. Maybe, and this does not matter. Category dot. Oh, that's why. Okay. So we have the, I remember now. Okay, so see right here, course notifications. So that's how it's in the database. The actual item is course notifications, and this is a Boolean, right?
Yep.
And so there's a status associated with this, or category.subscribed, right? So that category, are they subscribed? Is that true? If it is, right? And so that's where I had to figure out how to.
Wait, but those two, but that's still separate from.
It is. I guess in my mind, it probably would be easier up here to.
So yeah, I don't think right now you have a use for the actual name property that you define. So I think that should just be whatever. Like, that should just be course. Which,
right.
This is also a reason, which I think this gets easier when we use the enum, because I think that has.
That's valid. Oh, you know why? Because I didn't know. Nope. That I don't know why either. That's really
like it would make sense if you were like dynamically updating a property of an object based on the name and using that as a key. But I don't see that you're doing that.
You know,
I would still argue probably against it, but
I argue against it too. I argue against myself. I think this is one of those things where, again, late at night, and my brain was like,
yeah,
course notifications. Okay, I need to pass that in, and so I need to make sure it's the name. And I think I just,
yeah.
So I'm just gonna add a note here to. Oh boy, I'm against myself. Okay, update name with enum or value.
All right, I'm on a 10-minute. This is self-induced, but 10-minute timer.
No, that's good. That's
and hopefully less.
let's see here. So that's the subscribed. It's just a list of category checkboxes. By the way, this checkbox to code is all done via vanilla CSS.
Oh, nice.
It's just I found this an easier way. Tailwind, I can probably do a custom thing in Tailwind for all of this, but I found this to be a little bit easier.
Cool.
So I just used just some custom vanilla CSS for that, for the checkbox. And then this is the, we're just doing an async function inside of an onClick for updating the preference down here. So as soon as I click the button, we're going to update the preferences. And then the disabled, if the button's disabled, if update is the opposite. So basically, if disabled is, because if you set update to true, then that makes it disabled, right? Disabled equals true. So
show me where. So update is, are you using a use effect to calculate update?
No, it's just a state. It's just a state based on, so basically how that works is when they call the handle change function. So this only is going to get called when they individually click on one of these. Update a preference, great. It's back to disabled because nothing changed. As soon as something changes, it sets set update to true.
Okay.
Right. Now, if I did one of these, the reason why that doesn't happen up here is because when you unsubscribe from all, James, one of your inputs to me was, let's just make it unsubscribe from all, and just you don't have to update the preference after. Just boom, done. Right. Subscribe to all, boom, done.
Cool.
Really good feedback though, y'all. I mean, lots of little things, but they're not major, so that's good.
Yeah.
No, you've been killing it.
I learned a
awesome
ton.
To see. I bet.
I think next steps here, James, are kind of make some of these minor updates and then get you over a. I want to get some of the. I just want to check the error functions for the initial just submit email and collect email, and then we should be good to go.
Yeah. Cool. And then if you can go ahead and just show minimize the home screen. Or should we do a separate PR for that?
You mean minimize this?
Yeah, just get rid of everything except for that to start.
I was like a landing page, you mean?
Yeah, what I'll do, James, is I'm just gonna because everything right now is in the dev PR that I did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and we want to keep that in there because this, all of this stuff is something. Oh, that's right. I removed the image below this. That's why that changed.
Yeah, we can. I mean, I
can just comment it out.
Yeah, I think just comment it out, and then we'll say after this initial push to main, we'll reset. We just need to get a version to main that.
What I would maybe push it to main, and then will I have as a maintainer? Will I have access to main or no?
Yes, it depends on if we have a rule in there for being able to commit directly to main. Probably what we should do is also so when you get your PR set, then we'll create a separate branch where you comment all this stuff out and then create a PR, and you can just create it directly to main. One use case.
Yeah, I think we can do that, and then we'll keep it from being able to do that for other use cases. So
yeah.
All right, that works. Thank you so much, James, for setting this up so that we can walk through everything and providing super valuable feedback in chat, for chiming in and providing some awesome feedback. And
agreed.
For sure, yeah. Thanks for letting me jump in so I can start seeing the code base and everything.
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Hopefully it was helpful. Ellie watching on Ryan's stream. Hopefully it was helpful for you as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to be great.
Ellie mentioned she was specifically interested in design and Tailwind stuff. And so I figured some of those pages that we have, all the design stuff that we have from Benaya, we can put those in as issues and have the images associated with them. And
yes, she's saying yes. She's definitely interested in that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. And, Ellie also told me that she loves documentation.
Which we definitely need.
We definitely need.
Yeah.
So I was actually thinking, I can write the initial draft and then have her take a look at that, and provide the Ellie Zub finesse.
Honestly, I'll probably be a good use for that too, because learning everything that you've done. I'm just saying if it makes sense or not too between her and I.
Yeah. I can get on a call with both of you guys and we can do something separate to you to run through all the code base again. I could talk more about Next.js, and maybe I'll just do that live stream with you guys, and then we can learn. I can teach you all the basics of Next.js and the structure of the app directory.
Yeah, it's all stuff that I've hit surface level for me.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Who's got unit tests?
Who needs them? We'll add features for that.
You ever do that where you touch your nose like, not me, not it?
Yeah.
Actually, I would probably take that to learn, because it's something that I've been wanting to pick up in my stack and learn and do a lot better at. So
yep,
it's stuff I got to learn too. Yep, I feel you.
Cool.
We'll get there.
Yes.
All right. Sweet.
All right, thanks, y'all.
Thank you both. This is
Appreciate
fun.
it.
Chat.
Yeah.
Thank you for checking in, watching, and feedback. We'll be doing more and more of this stuff, so you can follow my stream, Chris's stream, Ryan's stream on Twitch if you're interested. And we'll talk about it on Twitter and all the fun things too. So
cool.
I'll go ahead and call it. Good to see you
James.
all.
Good to see you. Thanks, James.
Yeah,
have a good night. Bye,
Good
Ryan.
night.
So long, Chris.